Good evening, Commonwealth, and thanks for watching the Channel 2 News. I'm Ashley McDowell. Let's take a look at tonight's top stories. A gas station attendant doing his job gets beat up. Also tonight, the Department of Homeland Security sends out a statement on the terrorism threat to the U.S. And another extension is given to finance on an Open Government Act request. In sports, the Micronesia Baseball Classic kicks off with CNMI versus KOSE. Stay with us, these stories and more are next.
Hey boy, don't delete this message. I don't want you to forget. This is where we keep the family together, okay?
I got this, Nana.
Last Christmas, when Nana got sick, she showed us how she makes the holidays special. Because time will come when we have to do those ourselves. Now it's our turn, Nana. And I'm sure we'd always make you proud.
Watching the video growing pain, Mom.
Oh, I miss her.
It's Christmas time. Everybody be happy.
Because everything beautiful about the holidays are the ones you've kept alive in our hearts.
Green sea turtles and hawksbill turtles call the Mariana Islands home. They are an important part of the marine ecosystem. They are under threat, and they are protected under CNMI law. Keep plastic out of the ocean. Keep vehicles off the beach. Use the Sea Turtle Stranding Hotline if you see poaching activities or if you see a turtle in trouble. Call 287-8537 and save a turtle.
Hafa Day Tiruwami and good evening, Commonwealth. Today is January 6, 2020. A gas station attendant gets punched in the face while pumping gas for a male in Chalampiao. According to the Department of Public Safety, Inario Bisanin pulled into the gas station at Chalampiao. When the gas attendant approached the vehicle, Bisanin gave a $20 bill. When the attendant handed Bisanin the receipt, Bisanin threw it back toward the victim. The attendant proceeded to pump gas. Bisanin then proceeded to get out of the vehicle, walked toward the victim, asked where the victim is staying and a telephone number, and stated he was going to kill him. Bisanin then punched the attendant in the eye, removed the pump from the nozzle, and fled the scene. Officers found the vehicle in front of a store in Culberville and confirmed the suspect. Bisanin was arrested and booked at the Department of Corrections for disturbing the peace and assault and battery. On January 2nd, the United States carried out a strike in Iraq, killing an Iranian commander. The Department of Homeland Security National Terrorism Advisory System sent out a bulletin explaining there is no credible threat to the homeland at this point.
On January 2nd, 2020, the United States carried out a lethal strike in Iraq, killing Iranian leader, Force Commander Qasem Soleimani while he was in Iraq. What's significant about this particular airstrike was that it was conducted by the United States on a U.S. sanctioned terrorism group, the IRGC Quds Force, and they've been considered one of the most affiliated violent extremist organizations that have been publicly stated to retaliate against the United States.
Governor Press Secretary Kevin Bautista explains the effect this has on the CNMI.
Here locally, what we're managing, we're looking at it more so from a standpoint of geography. Us here being in the Asia Pacific region, we're really focused on making sure that we we look out for potential threats that can harm any part of the Marianas, particularly within close proximity to a highly volatile region. So from a CNMI local government standpoint, in collaboration with our federal partners, we're watching that closely. But on the onset, this is a national effort undertaken by all 55 state and territorial governments, as well as the national government, to ensure that we have the most proper protective measures again to protect the homeland.
Bautista says security will remain the same at airports and seaports, as no threat has been indicated at this time. The release from the Department of Homeland Security states an attack could come with little to no warning, and they are working with federal, state, local, and private sectors to detect and defend if necessary.
A request by the CNMI House of Representatives minority has been made for documents and receipts through the Open Government Act pertaining to Governor Ralph Torres' expenses. Finance had 10 days to comply and was given an extension due to the holiday season. And today is the deadline. But right before news time, Finance asked for another 15-day extension.
We requested quite a lot of documents, and so we're looking at taking a comprehensive view of the expenditure patterns of the governor in terms of charges related to travel, first-class travel in particular, housing and utilities allowances, reimbursements over the course of several years since he was lieutenant governor, really, and then expenses related to official representation. And then we're also looking at the policies of the government that are supposed to govern these types of expenses and whether or not taxpayers should really be footing the bill.
Many receipts and documents have been disclosed pertaining to the governor already, raising many questions.
And the Constitution, the law, are very clear that public money should only be used for public purposes. And if there are expenses that are personal or political, or if there are expenses that are fraudulent even, but the people need to be held accountable for that. And at this point, we want to get the records. We want to examine them, do an impartial and objective job of analyzing what we get, working with the experts. We do want to reach out to the Office of the Public Auditor as well, working with their auditing team, and then present a report and our findings and recommendations. If there are loopholes in the laws, then those loopholes need to be closed.
It's a very difficult time. We want to start off the new year being happy and positive, but at the same time we have a job to do, reluctantly or not. It's not easy. There's obviously, some who are upset that we're even looking into this. It's something that some of us don't want to do, but we have to do. And again, we've written this in our letter, that the governor is presumed innocent. He has due process, and we are affording him the opportunity to explain these documents and other things. This is not something where we're going to go in and just slam somebody on it without ensuring that we have evidence. And that's something that is one of the reasons why some of us have been either quiet or haven't been coming out and really commenting on it.
Sablon says members of the Ways and Means Committee and the Judiciary and Governmental Operations Committee will be reviewing all the documents, along with the House minority, to determine if there has been a misuse of public funds.
It is the job of the legislature to put a check on that, and at the very least to investigate and report back to the people about what we find and the actions that we'll be taking.
Sablon says January 22nd is the new deadline for Finance to compile all the documents and receipts.
Also up on Capitol Hill, every month each member of the CNMI House of Representatives is allowed to use a monthly allowance, but there is some controversy to the rules.
The rules in this 21st legislature allow for every member to avail of a monthly allowance that is supposed to be used to cover activities related to legislative business is quite broad, but for travel, lodging, community activities, events, expenses of that sort, and it's quite clear that these are public funds intended for public purposes. And our House rules, the Senate has slightly different rules, but our House rules also require that members keep a record of all transactions and their corresponding public purpose justifications.
And Representative Sablon states those transactions include receipts. Each member is allowed up to $5,000 per month, but Sablon states not every member takes the allowance.
I don't take the allowance. I know the minority leader at Probst does not take the allowance.
A request was recently made to legislature asking for receipts, stating the expenditures made from a monthly allowance that each member has the option to obtain. But Representative Sablon states some representatives feel they are not required to keep receipts of all the transactions made with the allowance.
Receipts related to our monthly allowances that legislators may be taking, and receipts showing disbursements as well from finance. And I responded pretty quickly because I don't take the allowance. I don't have records related to that. But the responses that have since come to light, have been published online from some of my colleagues in the majority, indicated that they do not believe that these receipts need to be disclosed or even kept or maintained by members who are taking allowances, which I think is troubling, because how else do you prove that these allowances are being spent on public purpose?
House Speaker B.J. Attow states he does not use the allowance.
I personally do not avail to the allowance. Some members may have, but personally I have not availed to the allowance for of the $2,500 to $5,000. But those monies are within our budget allocation, so we purchase stuff for the office or help out for the community and stuff like that. That's the same drawdown, but it just goes through the PO process.
But Speaker Attow does say each representative should keep receipts of their transactions using the allowance.
For every transaction they make, is it required for a receipt to be
on the allowance? On the allowance. So I said,
required for a receipt.
They should do it, whether it's required or not. They should do it, but the rules are clear that you can take the allowance, but make sure that you have records for all your purchases.
And he says if a representative does not keep receipts, then he or she must answer for themselves.
I respect their offices, and they have to answer for themselves as a member of the legislature for their specific office. I'm not going to tell them how to use their money, but you got to be responsible with your funds so that if anything comes up, your office is prepared to answer to the concerns that are being brought up by the public.
Sablon states it has been 11 months since the minority requested the Attorney General to do a legal review of the constitutionality of the allowances. She states the AG has not given his opinion still to this day. She also says OPA did give an opinion that the allowances are unconstitutional.
Very clear that the Finance Secretary has to ensure that public officials are providing sufficient and reasonable justification and documentation for their expenditures of public funds to make sure that this is all for public purpose, right? And if you have no receipts to show for it, and if you're a lawmaker and don't believe that you should even be keeping receipts, how do you justify that? How do you prove that that's for public purpose? And how does the public auditor, for that matter, do a proper audit if it should ever come to that? And there is, by the way, a pending citizen request for the public auditor to do just that with our allowances. So I think it's a big concern for all the members of the legislature. Whether we take the allowances or not, this reflects on all of us.
Coming up, 2 significant public land leases are up. DPL takes an important step forward. That story after the break.
Mom, are you sure? What about the shutters? And do you have your medicine?
Don't worry about us, love, okay? You take good care of yourself. I'm in love. Yeah, sorry. The power went out, so I had to light up all the candles. Yes, baby, yeah. I'm just glad our home phone's working and we're able to contact you.
Starting January 6th, catch Team CNMI's 2019 Road to the Obstacle Course World Championships on KSPN2, Monday through Friday night at 6:30, right after the Channel TV.
Welcome back to the Channel 2 News. DPL's Secretary Miriam Terrorrism says they have accepted the hotel valuations submitted by both the Hyatt and Fiesta hotels. And now they're waiting on the hotels to provide them with proposals for new lease terms. But can the hotels submit proposals if changes to the regulations are pending? Our Chris Nelson has more.
Hyatt Regency Saipan and Fiesta Resort were asked to submit to DPL appraisals of their properties. That was done late last year. The valuation includes the land and the structures on it and could be an important number to determining future rent on new leases. Both properties are estimated to be valued at between $50 and $80 million.
We reviewed them. It took us about 3 weeks in-house to review. We had to do our due diligence to ensure that all the comparables are on point. And the internal appraiser submitted her recommendation to accept the proposals. The appraisals, which we did. And so we've informed Hyatt and Fiesta that we have accepted their appraisals. The next step is the proposals, and we haven't received any of that from either of the hotels to this day. So we can't move forward with negotiations without the proposals.
Now the hotels are saying that they're waiting for you to change the regulations.
Right.
So which needs to come first? Under current regs, DPL charges 5% of the fair market value in rent each year, and the hotels and hotel association have balked at that figure. DPL says they have recently proposed a change.
Our proposed amendments would be up to 3%, and those are running in the current Commonwealth Register. There's 60 days before it gets adopted. Now, it's not automatically going to be adopted because there's a commenting period, so it really depends on the commenting period, what we hear from the general public. One of the intentions that we want to do is negotiate with the adoption of the regulation amendment anywhere from 0.5 up to 3% for the matured leases.
Terrorrism goes on to say that they will look at base rent, public benefit, and the amount of new investment as factors.
What we'd like to see is how much investment are they going to put in. We're talking about structural investments. We're not talking, yes, we look forward to them upgrading their furnitures and their, upgrading their room. But DPL's concerns are simply the structure. Because in the end of any lease term, it's only the structure that reverts back to the people. So when we receive these proposals from Hyatt and Fiesta, we're looking at how much investment are they going to put in the first 5 years of the lease. If they put in a substantial amount of investment, then that would justify that reason to drop that percentage of fair market value.
Thank you, Chris. Coming up, CNMI Baseball begins its season on Guam. We've got the latest score in the sports report coming up next.
Faster, easier to use. With live TV, recordings, video on demand, and streaming apps, all in a single place. When you're looking for something new, recommendations are tailored to you. Voice-powered, personalized results to find what you want faster. And the unlimited potential of smart home. The new experience from TiVo is here.
Let's roll at Gold's Gym Saipan with group exercise for every body. Total Resistant Exercise, or TRX, helps develop your core and improve strength. And Zumba toning is probably the funnest way to get fit. The Shake Cafe is a great place to stop by for a meal replacement or supplements. Today is the first day of the rest of your life.
Buenas sports fans. Buenas sports fans, 2 CNMI baseball teams are on Guam this week for international competition. The Micronesia Baseball Classic opened today at Paseo Stadium with KOSE taking on the Saipan boys. Hard-throwing righty Seboy Lizama dominated. He went all 7 innings in a 7-0 whitewash, striking out 9. Virgil Sarmadal, Nate Smith, and Darian Jones all had RBI hits for the CNMI. And some of you may remember R.J. Joe, who played for the CNMI in the Little League in the World Series. He pitched an inning for KOSE, and Guam defeated Pohnpei 7-2. Well, the other CNMI team in the on Guam are the U15 All-Stars for the BCO, Baseball Confederation of Oceania. It's a qualifier for the World Championships. The Saipan boys go in with a very serious disadvantage, though. It's going to be their first game that they've played in over a year. Manager Darren Flores has tried to play catch up by practicing hard for the past 5 weeks.
Unfortunately, we weren't able to fulfill the 50s, 70s, the juniors, and the seniors last year.
What impact is that going to have on this team?
We've been working hard. We've been practicing for a month and a week now. Their skill is there. These kids are all former All-Stars of the Little League program from last year to 3 years ago in Korea. And they are all graduating and playing in this big field. We believe in them. We know that they got heart, young talent. We're gonna go down there and pretty much to compete.
Our UFO game of the week comes from Roswell, New Mexico. Just joking. Comes from the Added Gym. Bring your kids for quality family time together. Just keep them off the court and cool. Toyota in blood red versus Vision in multicolors. Steve Lewis misses from inside. John Joyner with the stick back in the game was tied at 39s. Vision goes back on top. Cosino, the bucket. And he converts the free throw for a 3-point play. A lightning strike. Lillis to Don Brennan. Up and in. He drives a Toyota, Another Lillis to Brennan connection. A bank deposit, and it wasn't even payday. Game tied at 52s going to the fourth quarter. Money time, which means time for Elmer Estrelon to take over. Vision takes the lead for good. Joyner to Bobby Coldine, keeping them within striking distance, but too much Elmer. He gets an assist to Errol Paredo. The fall away, Vision goes up by 9. How about 11? Joyner says no, not yet anyway. Well, this is what separated the two teams in the fourth quarter. Vision had 7 length of the court plays, just like that, to pull away and win this one, 81-63. Well, before we completely throw away 2019, here's a look back of some of our favorite championship moments. The Rollers sponsor their own basketball tournament, and guess who won the U16 division? J-Rip Hollis. Oh, it's a top play of the week. Drive to succeed. King sees Cobreville open up like the Red Sea, and that's an easy lay-in. The Rollers were up by 2. Oh, this was the game. Final seconds, Ole Aces no. Ole Aces yes. The bucket plus the foul. Tie game, 10 ticks remaining. Cold as ice. He sinks the free throw. A 1-point advantage. Last chance. Atelig misses Villerin. The buzzer beater. The Rollers take the championship 49-4. Wait, it's not over. 0.2 of a second left. don't go home yet. The old ace is inbounds. Rollers, knock it away. Game over. Wait, it's not over. 1/10 of a second. For the game, the step back three. Oh, not close. Now it's over. The Rollers win the championship game 49-48. The U18 championship was a highlight generator. Final ticks for the championship. Bobby Rages? No. Kobe Santos tips the ball to himself, throws inside. Leo knocks it away, and we're going to overtime. Extra fun. Santos to Iverson. Oh, rejected by Greg. Typhoon blowing. Tyler Santos connects with Rages to put them up by 3 with 28 seconds remaining. Tyler seals the deal. Tinian fans glad they made the journey. Likewise, the MHS gym reopened to accommodate men's island-wide basketball in the inaugural AKMIBL League. Baza, the football throw to Sablon, touchdown. And Mr. Baza says, yes, Preston is my son. Elmer hits from beautiful downtown Susupi. He paced ITNA with 16 points. ITNE's only loss of the season was to these aces. Would we see it again? Oh, these aces, they will not be pushed around. They refuse to take a seat to anyone. Santos goes off for 21 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, and a couple of steals. 91-69 the final in Game 1. And then last night, Aces outlasted ITNE by 2 in overtime to walk off as the 2019 champions. The MHS also put to good use for its original intention, the students. SIS came up with 4 consecutive points to make it 24-20. Play it again, Samantha. Championship point. Catriel goes deep. GCA Eagles repeat as high school girls volleyball champions.
Here's the windup and the pitch.
I don't believe what I just saw!
Come drive. Kids' karts available now at the Seaside Circuit, and best of all, adults go along for free. Teach your child how to drive the best way possible by letting them take the steering wheel. You'll be along for the ride just to make sure things go smoothly. Kids' karts, the Seaside Circuit. Bring your local ID for a special half-a-day rate.
Nice day to be a bird. Today's high was 87, low 77, humidity 62%. Tomorrow partly sunny, isolated showers, northeast trade winds 10 to 20 miles an hour, high 86, low 76, seas 7 to 9 feet. Sunrise 6:45, low tide at 10:54, high tide at 4:22, sunset at 1:06.
Do you like the later sunsets?
I love it. Love the sun.
More sun.
The sun and the energy and going out to the beach. Oh boy, the beaches were crowded yesterday.
Oh, I bet.
You know, it used to be you could go to Micro Beach, for example, on a Sunday and it wouldn't be that crowded, but for some reason, I think more people are going to the beaches on Sundays here than they ever have before.
Yeah, it's nice. It's beautiful out. Why not?
Take advantage of it. That's
great way
that's
to
what
wrap
we got
up the
going
week.
for us. So.
Right before work day. I'd say it's nice. Well, thank you for watching, and we do wish that you have a very great night. Tune in tomorrow night at 6.
Good night.